So, grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and join me on this unique literary journey. Cheers! Dr. Vanessa Howard, also known as Dr. V, is an award-winning educator, motivational speaker, and best-selling author. With a Ph.D. in education, she has inspired countless individuals through her memoir, From the Projects to a Ph.D., and other impactful works like From Stuck to Limitless and The Right Stuff, a journey into writing your book. Dr. V is passionate about empowering others to overcome obstacles and achieve their dreams. She also shares her insights and experiences on her popular YouTube channel. Please welcome Dr. Vanessa Howard. Oh my gosh, Dr. V, I am so excited to be talking to you today. So thank you for joining me on the air and discussing not only your book project, but a little bit more about what you are doing. Before we start, as is my tradition, we are going to toast to a most successful show. Cheers. And you are
Cheers.
drinking, what is that?
Green tea.
Green tea. Now, it looks like it should have like some honey or something in there. It looks pretty healthy. Oh, yep, that's the good stuff. I am enjoying, I don't know what this is today. It's just a white wine. We're just going to call it a white wine because I didn't pay attention to the bottle when I poured it. Oh, that's good. Okay. So I have compiled a list of what I hope are questions that you have never been asked before. So you are going to be a little entertained with me today.
Okay.
So let's start with this. What is the most unexpected lesson you learned from your journey from the projects to a PhD?
I learned that I was stronger than I thought I was. Writing that book was very cathartic, therapeutic. I even went into therapy because of some of the trauma that I had received and never was treated for. So I didn't know that I was operating in a trauma informed or in trauma based way with people and with my life. And so this was very cathartic for me, very healing. Am I totally healed? No. Let me take a sip.
Take a sip.
But I'm a work in progress.
Yes. Isn't it a beautiful thing to know that as you were on your journey, what you believe to be presenting your words to the world, that in that moment that your words became your physician?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And at the time, it was during the pandemic. So I was isolated from my family. I was isolated from everyone. And the one connection that I had was working with a group of authors.
Yeah, beautiful. And God's timing and the timing of life is so phenomenal to me,
Mm-hmm.
and just I'm always awestruck with how things line up, that even if we were trying to orchestrate it, we never could. Now, with this outcome that you've had and with your childhood experiences, how have those influenced your approach to education and mentorship?
It influenced me to continue to believe that education is the key that opens up access. But the access has to be taught in a way that kids and people can receive it, make it relevant for them. Um, and it gave me the urgency to know that that's what we need to do, and reaffirmed with me and confirmed that I was on the right path of teaching urgency. I also worked in the university, and so the pre-service teacher was like, "Oh, Dr. V, you just so intense." Yeah, I am intense. It's that important. Education is that important because when I'm in the home, your children are going to be taking care of me, and if you don't raise your children right, I will be lost. So I said it in a joking way, but when you think about 70% of the people that are in jail or reading on a fourth grade level or
Right.
below, it's urgency.
It's urgent. And education is the great equalizer. I believe that if I know that the powers that are in place to keep communities from rising recognize this.
Hmm.
That's why there's an assault, a full-on assault on the education system. My husband and I were talking as we're riding through certain neighborhoods, we see the local schools, brand new buildings completely shut down. And
Hmm.
so the question becomes, how are those children in those communities ever going to get outside of those communities if education isn't there?
Hmm.
What is one book that has been profoundly impacted, um, that has profoundly impacted your worldview, and how was your view impacted?
Um, I purchased this book because I was having difficulty understanding corporate, and it was called The Memo: How Black Women Get a Seat at the Table. And so this author talked about how jobs are usually given after hours, and that we as African Americans sometimes don't want to go out to dinner afterwards, don't want to go and mingle, but that's where those decisions are made, or foundation, and you just need one person to speak your name. So she encouraged us to get a board, uh, selectively pick 5 people that could be in our corner, somebody to mentor us, somebody to speak our name, someone to open access, someone to share things with you, that you need that person to just say, "Oh, have you thought about Vanessa?" And it's all just about one person dropping your name, whether you get there. And so I learned how to make some strategic moves to move up and to also get that access that I needed to get to break that glass ceiling.
Wow, that's so profound. Absolutely profound. And then you saw me writing that down because once this interview is over, I will be getting that book. Thank you for sharing that. How do you balance the emotional weight of your personal history with the demands that you have on you for your professional life?
I have to departmentalize it. Um, there are sometimes, as a mother, sometimes you have those emergencies that happen in your family. But then I have to go into the schools. I have to go to my clients with a smile. So I've learned how to departmentalize emotions and things. Okay, I'm gonna have to deal with that later, but right now this is my job. This is what pays the bills, and this is what I need to do. And so I can go and interact appropriately to fulfill the job. And then I come back into real life, and sometimes I'll even tell myself I don't feel like dealing with that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
come back to it. I'll even put it on the shelf. I'll do something else just to keep my mind off of it. And then when I'm ready to deal with things, then I'll go back and revisit it. And one thing I'll do also is journal. I
Right.
journal, and I'm very reflective. I write notes to myself, uh, uh, especially on my phone, so I don't lose them. At first, I was using post-it notes, and I was losing those, but I used the note feature on my telephone, and I write notes to myself of things that I want to do, things that I need to do, and thoughts that I'm having. And sometimes I just record them.
Mm. And that just feeds right into my next question of how do you believe storytelling plays a role in healing and in empowerment?
I think the old saying that my mothers used to say, "What comes from the heart reaches the heart."
Mm.
So if you're authentic with what you're saying, it is received. People can feel those heartfelt emotions from your presentation, from your words in the book. It pulls them into a story. One of my mentors, basically, one of the interviewing questions she told me was, "Vanessa, tell a story." She said,
Yeah.
"When they ask you a question, tell a story as to why you did it." And she said that that will pull them in. And so that's kind of what I do. I tell stories to get you to understand the background, because sometimes when you understand the background and you understand the why, you'll accept the process.
I love that. How do you stay motivated to and inspired in the face of so many challenges?
It's my why.
Mm.
I'm a human. I do get discouraged. Sometimes I don't want to go to work. Sometimes I don't want to get on that plane. I want to stay home. I just want to pull the covers over in the bed. But as soon as I get into the classroom, or as soon as I see a teacher's aha, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know my kids could do that. It reminds me of my why, and it pushes me to move even further and dig deeper. So as
Mm,
long as I understand the why, and when that why doesn't fit me anymore, then it's time for me to retire.
it's time to move on. If you could sit and have a conversation with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Hmm. My historical figure, and she's not historical, but she's been someone that mentored me and didn't know it, was Maya Angelou. Angelou.
Yes. Yep.
Um, I'm a victim or survivor of abuse. And when I read Why the Caged Bird Sings after my abuse, it made me feel that I could come out of this
Yeah.
and that I wasn't alone. So it
Yeah.
was a secret that I kept. I didn't tell anybody. It was a secret that I kept. But her book helped me understand that I wasn't alone, and it helped me understand that I could overcome. And so I became an avid reader of almost everything she did. Her poetry,
Yeah.
anytime she was on television, I wanted to be there, or I wanted to see it, because she was a very light in my darkness.
Yeah. I think that I call her Mother Maya. I think Mother Maya was that for a whole bunch of us, you know. And if you look back
Yes.
here on this shelf behind me, you're going to see her books blended in there as well. If you could have any superpower for a day, what would it be and how would you use it?
If I had superpower for the day,
Hmm.
I would, I would, it's crazy. I would just like to fly,
Yeah.
fly without a purpose,
Hmm.
just fly to look and observe. Because right now, the way my career is going, sometimes I don't get a chance to stop and see the beauty, but I just want to fly around and just look and relax and look and gaze at God's great creations and places I haven't seen and haven't had time to smell flowers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. What is the quirkiest habit you have that most people don't know about?
The habit has been eliminated, but I used to convert the ABCs.
Oh, I bet kids absolutely love that.
They did. They did.
Now, why
So
did you
some
stop?
my kids, my natural children, told me, "Mama, that's gross." But I did it. So it will break the monotony. I'm a former kindergarten teacher.
Uh,
So they sometimes they get used to get tired of just the regular ABCs. But I don't know. One day I was drinking a soda and I burped while I was teaching, and it came out, that the alphabet came out. And then so I kept it up. The kids laughed about it. And it was a great teachable moment, and it was also a fun moment as well.
nice. I like that. If you were to write a novel in a completely different genre than your usual work of nonfiction memoirs, what genre would it be and what would the plot revolve around?
Ooh, that's the heart of hearts would be, I would like to write a novel like Dr. Ruth.
Yeah. Oh,
I
lean
would
in
like,
closer and put finger to ear to make sure I am listening.
now
Okay.
all my church friends don't get mad at me, but our sexuality is something that's very, very beautiful. And some people are afraid to explore it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's beautiful,
Hmm.
but between two consenting adults.
Hmm. That is, that would be a great topic. And let me know when you're ready to publish that because I
Yeah.
think I'm going to be like in the pre-sale number customer number one.
Learn about the V from Dr. V.
Boys and girls, you heard the title here. What what's something that you've never been asked that you go away thinking, oh man, I really wish that somebody would ask this question so that I can answer it?
You know what? I've been asked a lot of questions. I don't think is there something that I would like to share that no
Mm-hmm.
one has asked me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, no one asked me about my personal life
Okay.
because generally I hide behind talking about my children, my grandkids, my career, but they never asked me about me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And what would you
what
share that you would want people to know about Vanessa? Not the doctor, not the educator, not the professional college instructor, about Vanessa.
I would like them to know that I am a fun-loving person. I love a good joke. I love to laugh. I'm very humorous. I have a dry sense of humor because of my career, because I have to be strategic and talk a certain way and act a certain way.
Mhm.
But I do love to laugh, and I love to sing. Singing is
You
one of
can
my
sing.
outlets.
Oh,
Oh
listen.
Lord.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, when I say she can sing, as them old folks would say.
Yeah. So I do tap into that artsy side. When my kids first left home, I was an empty nester. I started crocheting, and my friends talked about me. You too young to be crocheting, but it was an outlet, so I had to
Mm-hmm.
hide that I was crocheting and sewing and doing those different things. But it was a good outlet. It was a creative outlet. You think about I'm using my intellect all day. I'm using that left side of the brain, but then when I get to pull that right side brain, the artsy and all of those different things, that's a good relief. It's
Mm-hmm.
a good relief, and it brings balance.
If you were to write a part two to From the Projects to a PhD, what would it be titled?
I would the powder. And the reason I will call it the powder is because in my book, From the Project to the PhD, I discussed how they used radioactive powder in the project, spraying it down, telling us it was um, for mosquitoes, but it was
Mm,
not. They were just playing with the projects people with chemical warfare. A lot of people ended up sick. What I would do is I would take the powder story and go back and find the people from the projects that I grew up with, look at the statistics, how many are still alive, where are you at, what do you remember, how has your health been impacted, how is your um, emotional intelligence, how are you doing right now, and just do a follow up on the victims.
mm. Wow. Wow. That is so impactful. What are you working on right now? Anything
I'm
artistically or writing wise?
Writing wise, I have a very precocious dog, Milo, who travels with me, and he's gone um, around the nation. The only reason he hasn't been out the country is because of the paperwork um,
Yes.
needed to get him cleared and get him back without having him stuck
Right.
somewhere. Um, he's very precocious. He rides with me, and he's my emotional support dog. He rides with me in the cabin. I don't have him in my lap. He has a carrier that he's very comfortable in. I made a mistake one day, and I'm just telling the story that I'm considering writing.
Okay.
I made a mistake one day, and I put food in his carrier. His carrier was cloth, so some food was still stuck in there, and so he dug and he dug and he bit a hole in it. So I'm asleep on the plane. The stewardess came to me and said, "Ma'am, your dog's in first class." I said, I looked down, there was a hole in the bag, and my dog was in first class licking people's legs and feet. And so when I came back, I went up to the front to get him. He just stood and froze. And then people in first class said, "Run, Forrest, run." So he does little funny things like that. And then there are even opportunities where we're on a plane where someone will say, Now he's in his carrier. I don't want to sit by her. She has a dog. And they'll act very rude and they talk bad to her. And so that's from his perspective. I want to write how he feels being in those situations.
Oh my gosh, that would be a beautiful series of Milo.
Hmm.
His whole series of I can see him getting out and look up at you sleep, and he's up in first class getting all sorts of treats and sitting up in first class. You could even exaggerate it and put it that he's up with the pilot, co-pilot in the plane,
Hmm.
and Milo with a
Yeah,
little
but
cap on.
he was just licking the lady ankles and she was just, ah. I was like, oh, I was so embarrassed. But they were really nice about it. They were really nice about it.
Now, where are the listeners able to interact with you and to engage with you?
You can type in Dr. V. Howard or Dr. Vanessa Howard. I'm on all social media. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just type my name in. I have a website, howarducity@.com. Yeah, .com. Howard, HOWURD, the letter U, and city, CYTY.com.
Wonderful. Now we've come to the part of our show that many of my guests enjoy. It is called This or That. I have selected, normally they're kind of quirky, but I do a random, while we're talking, and this is where yours landed. So, journaling or meditation,
Journaling.
goal setting or going with the flow,
Flow.
self-help books or personal mentorship.
Self-help.
Morning affirmation or evening reflection, or I think you're going to say both.
Evening reflections, because I look over my whole day. Yeah.
Okay. Networking events or skill building workshops.
Skill building workshops, because I'm working on that social part of me.
Yes, and that leads into the next one. Let's skip down. Oh, vision boards or written goals.
Vision board. I want to see it.
Good. Well, Dr. V, thank you so much for joining me. This has been really fun.
This has been. Thank you so much for having me.
And this wraps up another episode of On the Air with Florenza. You may follow me on all social media platforms under Florenza Lee or via my website at florenza.org. Until next time, cheers.